See all of us on ground. Some of us came from far for this flight. Some people don't live in Ibom, and it's getting late. It's night. We are waiting for her to come down. Let her come down. Why is she still in the plane? Why is she still in the plane? Why is she still there? Why is she still in the plane? Why is she still in the plane? She go come down now. Unless plane go carry only her. So what time are we moving? Ibom Air. I don't know. Where are you people lodging us? Where? I have a 5 a.m. flight out of Abuja tomorrow. I don't live in Nigeria. Stay in New York. What's the accommodation plan for us? First of all, can we have everybody We are waiting for her to come down. I don't know why she's still there. Why is she, and she was saying, I won't agree. Why is she still inside the plane? Why is she staying? Why wasn't she deported? Why wasn't she deported? And the pilot said, I cannot solve the matter with her, so I'm going to cancel the flight because we couldn't solve it. And we have security in the airport, and we couldn't deport one passenger. When I was coming, all 4 of my bags were left behind in Abuja. I did not stop the plane from moving. She insisted all her bags was inside. They would have taken it out. People, they are all coming down. See all of us.
And there you had it, the commotion. And I mean, I decided to play this part of the video first because let's be objective in this matter, right? Okay. I mean, the lady had a right to demand that her bags, you understand, she wanted her entire luggage on the flight. She paid for it, right? Good. In a very professional manner. Okay, ma'am, for whatever reason, we can't have all your bags on board. But we will ensure that by the time you arrive your destination, arrangements will be made to secure your bags and probably bring them to you, or bring your, there's a way of handling this thing. For some of us who have traveled both nationally and internationally, like there was a mix-up. And by the time I arrived my destination, I was forced to spend money I didn't plan because I had to now go get clothes and stuff pending when my luggage, it took about 48 hours, yeah, if I remember correctly, thereabout, before I could recover my luggage from that international airline that I flew at the point in time. So these things happen, but it's about how they are handled. And that's why I agree with the MBA, that the treatment meted out to Comfort Emerson by the airline was reckless and violated her right to the dignity of a human person. I agree. She deserved an explanation. She deserved courtesy from the airline. And that's why I said it's shocking that Ibom Air, that I personally, my personal opinion, I mean, you have a right to yours, is one of those airlines I saw to be very professional. You understand? I can remember an incident where I was booked on an Ibom Air flight for if I remember correctly, either 4 p.m. or thereabout. I got to the counter at, I think, 3, 3, 320, 325 thereabout, and they told me, look, they've closed the counter, and they are ready to board, and I was forced to miss that flight and reschedule and pay extra for another flight the next day. So I fortunately, what I was going for wasn't urgent. I had about a 24, 48 hour window. So but it was shocking. But I understood, because as an international traveler, one thing I know about the aviation industry is timeliness. Everything is about time. You have to, so if your flight is for 2 o'clock, it's expected that from wherever you are as of 12 noon, you should be, en route the airport so that you can do the normal checking in process and be seated waiting for your flight to take off. I know most travelers will complain about delayed flights, rescheduled flights, and these things happen. If you're a regular traveler, you should anticipate it, right? Not even in the most developed and civilized societies, these things happen, and that is why professionalism is a key tenet that I like to hinge on, and that was what I expected: professional conduct from the airline, explaining to the passenger why her entire luggage couldn't be on board the plane and what arrangements have been made to ensure that her luggages are secure and ensure that she will get them in due time. And I mean, that's the way most international airlines handle issues of this, and all of this drama probably would have been avoided. Like our elders say, prevention is better than cure. So the question is, what are the lessons to be learned from all of this? Because if you remember, it didn't even start with Kwam 1. It started with a well-known senator and former governor of Edo State who shut down almost the entire airport simply because he was told that he was late to board a flight to either to Abuja or from Abuja. You understand? And he decided to, flex his muscle, being a former governor, being a former labor union leader, being a former, being a serving senator. And one would expect that for somebody of that status, that, he would have conducted himself slightly differently, seeked redress in a far different manner. But he shut down the airport. No probe, no harassment, no, and then shortly after, a few months later, Kwam 1, incident comes up, and it made the rounds as far as social media and of course traditional media is concerned. And just this weekend, I mean, come on, Miss Emerson became the latest victim, and between these three scenarios, these three cases, you can see the disparity in terms of how the individuals in these three scenarios have been treated. I mean, the NBA, for instance, insists that the matter required an independent, impartial investigation by the appropriate authorities before any disciplinary action is taken against Ms. Emerson. Now, and it also faulted the decision to impose a life ban without affording Ms. Emerson a fair opportunity to be heard. I mean, I am a proponent for fair hearing. I mean, always give room to hear the other side, the other person's version, and when you hear both sides, it gives you fair grounds to be able to come to what I would consider a fair conclusion. You understand? And I agree with the NBA, because they stress that Ibom had only presented its version of events without giving her the chance to respond. I mean, they coaxed the story, So right now, I remember when the story broke, on social media, people were quick to condemn, and that's why I decided to play that video initially, so that you could also see the reactions of fellow passengers. As far as they were concerned, they didn't care about the fact that this young lady had the right to demand her luggages. And somebody said, I don't care, it happened to me, I didn't. So yeah, you chose not to. This young lady decided to exercise her rights. You understand? And her rights were violated, meaning yours could be violated as well. So the way we react to issues sometimes as Nigerians can be baffling, right? I don't know. I may be wrong, but sometimes I tend to think that there's something wrong with the way we reason. I mean, and but what is shocking, as I said, I have had the pleasure of international travels, and you'll be shocked that those same people would react differently if that same scenario played out on board a British Airways or Air France or Lufthansa. You understand? They would follow the rules. Do you understand? They would react differently. But because it's in Nigeria, and we create this impression that we are a either animal farm where some animals are more equal than others, right? Or we're like uncivilized people. I mean, listen to some of those statements that were made. Right now, I'm going to play you the other video. There are several videos, of what went down over the weekend on that Ibom air flight. And just in case you haven't seen them, well, here's one.
Come in, come in.
Do we have to wait till it escalates? Yo! Come. Kenny!
Destroying the aircraft. She's destroying the aircraft. Yes, I want to. She's beating her. She has slapped her eye. You want to grab a quick pic? She has slapped her. She's destroying the aircraft. C4.
Stand by, there's a situation here. Stand by. Communicate your main page.
My phone, my head.
Come back here.
My phone and my head.
Bless you.
I don't see the lawyer calling again. They're coming.
Do we have to wait till it escalates?
So there it was. They dragged her out of the plane. You could hear the flight attendants drag her out. It took about four or five men. I mean, and that honestly, I'm ashamed. To be honest with you, I'm ashamed because this video has gone. It's not just viral in Nigeria. It's gone global, and so just imagine the impression we have created to the rest of the world right now, that we treat ourselves like animals, that we're a bunch of uncivilized people. So, I mean, immediately I saw that, and what came to my head was my mind just played back the words of Donald Trump during his first administration, the impression he had about Nigeria. Because we keep finding ways of authenticating those mindsets about us as a people. I mean, there's no bigger way of deselling Nigeria than those videos that went round over the weekend. Well, if you're just joining us, this is 96.1 FM, the voice of the people, and it is the arena on the morning ride edition, Wednesday edition, and we are looking at the infraction that took place over the weekend at the airport on Ibom Air, and the various reactions that have followed. Just yesterday, the Senate launched a full-scale investigation into a string of troubling incidents following airlines and passengers as public concern grew over safety recently involved in the breach of airport safety protocols. Right? So, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Aviation, Senator Buhari Abdul Fatai, who made this known in altercations that have gone viral and stirred widespread outrage. Now, these developments demand immediate and coordinated action to protect the integrity of the sector and restore public confidence. We will not allow procedural gaps or lapses in enforcement to undermine safety, professionalism, or public trust in our aviation system. Now, he said the committee, exercising its constitutional oversight authority, would summon key players in the aviation ecosystem. Agencies and stakeholders listed to be summoned include regulatory bodies like the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, operators, security agents, and public interest groups. Now, they would be squeezed on a series of investigative hearings aimed at uncovering root causes and recommending decisive corrective actions. While the statement stopped short of naming specific airlines or incidents, the timing aligned with several high-profile controversies that have recently gripped the sector. One such case occurred in July 2025 when passengers aboard a domestic flight from Lagos to Abuja were left inside an aircraft for hours without communication or air conditioning, prompting heated exchanges and social media backlash. In another incident, passengers were reportedly deboarded for expressing frustration over delayed takeoff, raising fresh questions about passenger rights and the professionalism of air staff. Now, these incidents were part of a broader pattern that has drawn criticism from consumers, protection bodies, and aviation analysts. According to recent data from the Consumer Advocacy Group, over 4,000 complaints were lodged by Nigerian air travelers in 2024 alone, ranging from flight delays and cancellations to lost luggage, poor communication, and allegations of misconduct by flight crew. Now, Abdul Fatai, widely regarded as a vocal advocate for industry transparency and consumer protection, stressed that the committee was determined to get to the bottom of the problem. He said, and I quote, "The Senate Aviation Committee will ensure accountability at all levels. We're not embarking on a public relations exercise. This is about structural reforms and real consequences for failure." I like this. End of quote. Now, the decision by the Senate came amid growing calls for a legislative overhaul of the aviation regulatory framework, with experts arguing that current enforcement mechanisms were too weak to deter negligence or mistreatment. Now, several consumer protection organizations had urged lawmakers to pass a comprehensive passenger bill of rights. Yes, comprehensive passenger bill of rights, clearly defining airline obligations and penalties for non-compliance. Now, speaking to the media, an aviation consultant and policy expert, Dr. Ifeanyi Nwoke, welcomed the Senate's intervention but stressed the need for follow-through. He said, and I quote, "Nigerians are losing confidence in the aviation sector, and for good reason. You have operational inefficiencies, customer service failure, and a lack of consequences. This Senate action is a welcome start, but it must lead to clear reform and enforcement. End of quote. Now, so stakeholders also pointed out to the broader challenges facing Nigerian airlines, including rising operational costs, foreign exchange volatility, and aging infrastructure. While these economic pressures are real, industry watchers argued that they could not justify subpar service or breaches of safety and passenger rights. I mean, passenger rights tops it. The right of the passenger. It's commonly said that the customer is always right. I mean, it's common knowledge. It's a given. So, passenger rights naturally should be top of the bill. Anyway, the aviation sector plays a critical role in Nigeria's economy and social connectivity, especially given the country's vast geographical and sometimes limited road infrastructure. Now, with Nigeria aiming to establish itself as a West African aviation hub, this thing has been on the table for close to 2 decades now. Nigeria is supposed to be the aviation hub for not just West Africa, but a major hub in Africa. But because of poor infrastructural upgrades, it's just been on paper, right? So the quest to become West Africa's aviation hub through infrastructural upgrades and expansion of domestic carriers, ensuring safety, reliability, and accountability is seen to be very vital to the country's development goals. Because if you do not have a functional aviation sector, then I hate to imagine that we can that we have to shut down the entire aviation sector simply because of inefficiency and lack of proper regulatory, regulation. It's crazy. It's crazy. So Senator Abdul Fattah therefore assured the public that the Senate committee would maintain active oversight and press for actionable outcomes, not just recommendations. He adding that operators found to be repeatedly in breach of regulations or standards would be held accountable, including through legislative interventions where necessary. And he was quoted as saying, and I quote, "The Nigerian people deserve an aviation sector that upholds global standards of safety, professionalism, and customer respect." I so like that. And we will not rest until those standards are met and maintained. End of quote. As hearings are scheduled to begin in the coming weeks, eyes would be on the Senate to see if it can push through the bold changes needed to reset an industry that millions of Nigerians rely on, but increasingly question. Yes. So it took the incident of Miss Emerson for the IG to order the airport police to probe the alleged obstruction of safety protocols by Kwam 1. So I've said it before that we've gradually made ourselves to be a reactive people rather than a proactive people. We wait for things to happen when the common saying suggests that prevention is better than cure. Did we have to get to this point? All right, we'll take a quick breather. When we come back, the phone lines will be open. Let's get your thoughts on this. The air is not safe. The roads are not safe. They are either bad or, hounded by all kinds of vices. How do we survive? How do we travel? How do we connect? Who knows who? Nobody knows who's going to be next. Who's going to be the next person that would be embarrassed by airlines. I've given you different scenarios. People kept in the plane with no air conditioning, no communication, issues of rescheduled flights, canceled flights, lost baggages. I told you of my experience, though it was international travel, but I also shared how it was handled, right? So what is the guarantee that even as we speak, somebody is not being, embarrassed on an airline or by an airline? All that when we come back after this break. All right, just about 42 minutes past the hour mark of 8. And if you're just joining us, this is the Arena on this Wednesday edition of the Morning Ride right here on VOP 96.1 FM. I am Nkamian John, the beloved, also known as the controversial. And for the past 43 minutes thereabout, we've been looking at the infractions that have happened at the airports. Trying to make some sense of it, right? Try to make some sense. But we hear that Comfort Bob, the Ibom air passenger who caused the stare at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos on Sunday, appears to have begun a new life inside the female wing of the Kirikiri prison, as she was ushered in at about 6:30 p.m. on Monday by police officers from the Airport Command Ikeja with a remand order from which lapses on October 6. However, the Nigerian Bar Association, as I highlighted earlier, yesterday condemned as reckless and unlawful the treatment of the passenger who had sensitive parts of her body exposed in a viral video. And the NBA also disagreed with Airline Operators of Nigeria, AON, over the indefinite no-fly ban slammed on the passenger, just as the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, replied, those drawing similarity between the Value Jet incident, which involved musician Wasiu Ayinde, also known as Kwam 1, and that of the Ibom air passenger, saying both incidents were not the same. I don't think it's about the incidents being the same. It's about the fact that the incidents happened in the first place. Now, a source within the prison revealed to the Vanguard newspaper yesterday that Comfort Bob was brought in to the female prison, Kirikiri, with a remand order. Disclosed that the 26-year-old student was calm and did not betray any emotion, and was promptly processed as a first-time offender. Now, the source said, and as quoted by the Vanguard, when she was brought in yesterday, Monday, she was classified as a first-time offender and kept separate from other inmates. She didn't really show any emotions here, but she came with her luggage. Since she is not a government official and also not a well-known individual, she did not qualify as a very important person. Wow. She might have been known for the fracas at the airport, but our classification here doesn't qualify her as a VIP. Now, during her admission process handled by our senior official, she was briefed on the rules and regulations of the female prison. She was also given an option of skills available in the prison that she can learn. We have schools and vocational training here. Even if someone is staying for just a week or a month, they don't remain idle in a cell. They are encouraged to learn something. In the past, these opportunities were only for convicted inmates, but now we also offer them to those awaiting trial, whose numbers are far higher than the conviction population or convicted population. Asked if the inmate had received any visitors since she was brought in, the source disclosed that a few people visited yesterday. The source, however, refused to disclose the identity of the visitor, saying it is against prison rules to do so. It is within her right to receive visitors, and one or two persons visited her yesterday. I don't know if they are her relatives, but it is also against rules here to disclose the identity of visitors. End of quote. Now, another source also told the Vanguard late yesterday that officials of the female prison have been instructed not to divulge information about Comfort's stay in the facility. Meanwhile, a passenger aboard the aircraft who witnessed what transpired, Olubumi Balogun Shonubi, took to her Facebook page yesterday to recount what happened. She recounted, and I quote, "Funny enough, I was on this flight and this babe sat right next to me across the aisle. We were on the emergency row. When she came in, one of the air hostesses, the one she slapped, was very polite and helpful during the flight, told the girl to switch off her phone for takeoff. After she left, one other witch of an air hostess came and really spoke down on the girl. The girl told her the button on her phone was switched off and was not working, or for switch off was not working. The woman replied that it is an iPhone and does not need a button. The girl said she does not know how to do it. The woman told her to go to the settings, etc., and the girl said, please take my phone and do it. I cannot read. NBA condemns life ban on passenger, pledges legal support. So, reacting to the incident yesterday, the NBA condemned as reckless and unlawful the treatment of Miss Comfort Bob. So, that's the story. So, let's get your reaction to all of this. Look, as I said before we went on that break, it could happen to any of us. I did share my experience during an international flight where my luggage was not on the flight, and I arrived my destination, no clothes, no change of clothes, no, you understand. I had to spend money I didn't plan for, and though I must be honest, I was later compensated by the airline for the inconvenience caused because it wasn't my fault. I came in, did what I had to do as a passenger. I was ready to board, only to eventually discover that my luggage didn't make it on the flight, and I made a complaint, a formal complaint, and they were very professional, very polite. They kept keeping me informed and up to speed with developments in terms of what they were doing to secure my luggage and ensure that I get it. And for that period, they also told me what to do in terms of documentation, and that made it possible for them to compensate me for whatever losses and inconveniences I experienced at that time. So I am one of those that believe that the aviation sector industry is one of the most professional sectors you can find across the world. But it is shocking. It is shocking to see what transpired. On Sunday. It is shocking. It is shocking. And the truth about it is, it could happen to anyone. It could happen to our friends, relatives, people we know. And there is a need. There is a need. Now, the federal government has explained the reason why Comfort Emerson, a female passenger who allegedly assaulted Ibom Air crew members, was remanded, while Fuji musician legend Wasiu Ayinde, aka Kwam, who reportedly disrupted a value jet flight in Abuja last week, faced no such court action. Yeah. According to the federal government, you will recall that the morning, the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, Mike Achimugu, who featured on a television morning interview, said that the two incidents were different. These were his words, and I quote, "There is no comparison here. It is not a case of oranges and oranges. In the Kwam 1 incident, the airline did not activate its right to take the passenger to court. So the NCAA did what it was supposed to do by petitioning the authorities to petition the passenger. In Ibom Air's incident, maybe because their staff had been assaulted, the airline immediately activated its right to take up the matter and it went to court." End of quote. So according to him, the NCAA was not directly involved in Emerson's case, whereas in Kwam 1's situation, the authority issued an advisory to the Airline Operators of Nigeria, AON, to ban the musician from flights. Now, he revealed that contrary to earlier reports, Kwam 1 was not placed on a 6-month ban, but on an indefinite ban pending the outcome of investigations. Now, Achimugu, while explaining why Emerson was placed on a no-flight life ban, said airline operators have the legal authority to take such action. But, as highlighted by the NBA, there was no fair hearing. Doesn't the passenger have the right to tell his or her own side of the story? And shouldn't it be done in a, will I say, court of competent jurisdiction? to be able to define the lines and know who erred and what consequences the parties involved should bear. You know, I mean, the way we brandish these things called legal authority and all of that. What about the rights of the passenger? Were the rights of the passenger not violated? Were the rights of the passenger? I mean, the handling or malhandling of the young lady in the plane and being publicly indignified, does that justify legal authority of airline operators to do what they do? I mean, we need to know where to draw the lines in some of these issues. Well, the studio line is open. We've got just about 7 minutes left before we call it a wrap on the morning ride and, of course, on the arena this morning. The phone line is open, 0808 312 8618. 0808 312 8618. And you get to be part of the conversation. Let's know what your thoughts are. I mean, come on. This could happen to anybody. How do we address this? The Senate Committee on Aviation has taken the right step in the right direction, but as aviation experts and analysts have said, it's about a follow-through on the matter. We have a call coming through. Let's get to hear from this caller. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning. Your name and where you're reaching us from.
I'm Chimeze calling from Asokoro. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chimeze. Good morning.
A matter of national issue like this, please, you allow us to talk. You took our time and you are leaving only 6 minutes for us. Almost 1 hour, you are repeating the same thing. I'll call in some other time. Thank you.
Wow. Well, Chimeze, if you're listening, I had opened the phone lines long before now. You didn't call in. And I had to keep, rebuffing the issues, bringing the different angles. So if at this point in time, the phone lines had always been open. I mean, maybe you just tuned in and I said, yes, we have at this point in time less than 5 minutes to go. So if in 2 minutes you couldn't make your contributions, then, I mean, it's not my fault. It's not my fault, really. From when we started the show, the phone lines, I kept repeating it, that we're live and interactive, and you can be part of the conversation. Besides, remember, we are VOP, the voice of the people. Now you have a voice. Okay? So the phone line's still open for the next 4 minutes, thereabout. Yeah? 4 minutes? 4 minutes is a long time on radio. Trust me. If you're paying for it, you know what I'm talking about. All right? 0808 312 8618. 0808 312 8618, and you can be part of the conversation. So, Chimeze, thanks for calling in anyway. We appreciate that you're locked on our dial 96.1 FM. All right, so it's important. One would even expect that the Consumer Protection Agency would be at the forefront of this issue, because we've always talked about consumer rights, right? The need to protect, and it's becoming pertinent, especially at a time like this, where the economy, the system, structures of government and governance seem not to be chunking out the kind of results that Nigerians expect. So everybody's under pressure, and so it is the responsibility of the various sectors, regulators, to ensure that at a time like this, people are not further degraded. I mean, the young lady paid her for her flight, and she deserves to get value for money. At a time where we all know money doesn't come easily, right? Well, this is where we draw the curtains on today's edition of the Arena. For everyone who tried to call in and for some issue couldn't get through, don't worry. My advocacy is always keep trying. Don't give up, okay? Tomorrow will be another day where we'll come into the arena, look at major issues as they are trending, and of course do our bit to exfoliate those issues as much as we can, and have a meaningful, engaging conversation right here on VOP 96.1 FM. Special thanks to everyone for tuning in. Keep it locked. Remember, we are